Right, we should be back pretty much. So yeah, I guess we'll start in just a few minutes, something like that. Have a bit of music for a couple of minutes while I sort out this and that. Oh, hold on. Yeah, welcome back, folks. Going to start proper in about 3 or 4 minutes' time. Analysis on today's events in London. And we'll keep an eye on what's going on in London as well. And talking a bit about what's going on in France and around and about with our like minds around the continent who want their independence and their freedom too. So there you go, folks. Yeah, a few minutes coming up. Just give us a sec just to sort things out. Yeah. Oh, hold on. No. Give us a few minutes. Oh, blimey, that's wrong. That thing there, that's wrong. Right, okay. Hold on, I'll redo that. London analysis or demo analysis. Analysis. Running coverage continues. Starts, I don't know. What time is it now? 5:12, 4:12, call it 16:20. Yeah, that should be enough. Might have a quick crafty smoke before, I don't know. So yeah, okay, all right, fine, that's sorted. Right, okay, just a few minutes, people. Yeah, have a bit of music. Oh, hold on, come back. That was quite good. That was funky. Oh, blimey. Oh, there we go. There we go. Nice. It's all copyright free, Facebook. Yeah, copyright free. Get over it. Hello. Yeah. Just lining things up, people. Oh, yeah. Official count of attendees in London today is 24, according to Nigel Brown. Diane Abacus Abbott counted them all. Oh. There we go.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way.
No, we must never step away. 3 minutes, people.
I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy, but it's so insane. We must merely make a stride.
I've done pretty much all I can do. And if, at the end of this Brexit period, the government had not done what people asked them to do, then I would have no choice but to don khaki and head back to the front lines. I mean, if that's what it comes to.
Damn right.
Let's all take a ride. Savannah. Lion's gonna come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung. Kids across the land. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride.
China, China,
Savannah,
Oh.
Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. We'll never be alone, Savannah.
Oh. Hey, folks. Good afternoon, good people. Welcome to rolling coverage of today in London here on Daily Brexit. Holding democracy to account, fighting for self-determination and exposing plutocracy. I'm Olly Connelly. Thanks for turning up. And now, demo analysis. Rolling coverage continues of the day's events in London with live feeds, interviews, commentary and analysis. tips and live feeds, either comment below or call 033 000 11264. I'll put that number at the top of the comments now. Jingle jangle. Jewelry, jewelry. Yeah, share the show, get involved. Show them we're watching, we're talking, we're thinking, we're reactive. All right, okay, yeah, all right, okay. Westminster. Oh. Yeah, that's what they sound like in Westminster. Right, okay, so we have got here with us, who's been with us pretty much all day, Chris Baxter, who missed the bus this morning. Chris, are you there?
I'm certainly am, yes.
What did you think, mate? What did you think about today? What happened? What you saw? What's your overall?
I think it was a splendid turnout for the start of a revolution that could possibly go our way, or well, you never know what'll happen, do you?
I tell you, it's do or die. You know, it's got to sort it out. Yes, it was. Is there any idea what the turnout was? Because it's difficult to get an idea of the figures.
Ollie, I have just sent you an overhead view of
lovely.
The amount of people. And I think it's a bit more than 300.
Bit more. Well, Diane Abbott apparently reckoned it was about. Diane Abbott reckoned it was about 26 people when she was on the abacus.
-2.
You okay? Oh wow! Oh wow! Oh, that picture you sent is awesome. Let me see if I can get that on the screen. Oh, look at this. Look, hold on a sec, folks. Here we go. Look at this. Hold on. Can I get this to you? How can I get this to you?
Awesome. Let me see if I can get that on the screen.
There you go. There you go. Look at this, people. Look at that. Look at that. It looks like an ant's nest. It is thick with Brexiteers there, huh? That is definitely our side. That's our march, because the other lot is north. And wow, it's awesome. What a sight. What a sight.
Yeah, I think the levers only squeezed together 5.
Wow. That is fantastic.
That's Diane Abbott's calculation.
I'll tell you what, that's more than 26. So the guy on Unity who did great coverage and good pictures too, he said at first he thought it was maybe 510, and then he said he reckoned it was nearer 100 or so, and then somebody said something like 800,000. I don't see how you can fit that number of people into these kind of streets along this march, but it was a lot of people. It's chock-a-block now.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Very good, very good. We've got Caroline Stevens. Please come on and have a chat with us, Caroline. It would be lovely to get your input on today and see what you think about what happened today. And I imagine you were there, girl, which is more than I was, and it'd be very, very nice to hear what you got to say. And anybody else that was there as well, please, or even if you weren't, just what your thoughts on it were. I'll take a few comments and then run through some of the news of the day, just so that we can see, if you like, what the enemy is saying and get an idea and hopefully get a bit more input into what's going on in France as well, which, it's truth. We've got our solidarity with these guys. We are on the same side, even though we're different nations and want our own nations free of interference from each other's nations, I hope, as well, but supportive for the people involved and what they believe in, i.e. just having a nice quiet life, really, and doing what you do with your families and your extended families, i.e. your nations. That Macron is so wrong. To talk nationalism down, it's just an extension of the family, for crying out loud. There's nothing wrong there. There's nothing in any way immoral or incorrect about being a nationalist. If anything, you should be proud. Hopefully, we can't be proud of everything in our nation states, but we can be proud in our beliefs and hopefully in our families and what they fought for in the past and what we're fighting for now. John Upperdine, the troll said Tommy is a criminal. Oh no, that comment's just gone. Oh, blimey. Caroline says, John Upperdine, every MP is betraying their oath. Yes, indeed. What was it? 408 out of 650 constituencies. Had it been a general election, that referendum, 62.8% of those constituents voted to leave, voted Brexit, voted to get out of this corrupt EU club. So absolutely, you've got to ask yourselves, why are these Muppets or puppets in Westminster not representing their constituencies? And so that's why I get so angry, and I'm sure you all do. We certainly should when we hear the Subras or the that bloke in Beaconsfield, Dominic Grieve, or people like that Hilary Benn, whose father must be turning in his grave. When we hear them betraying democracy and basically going against, because Dominic, I'm not sure about Hilary Benn's constituency, but Dominic Grieve, his constituents in Beaconsfield, they voted to leave. And ditto with Anna Soubry, who got about 350 majority. That was it, a trace majority. Whereas her constituents voted about 65% to leave. They're not representing their constituencies, as we know. And indeed, as Caroline points out, all our politicians live at the bottom of the sea, or the swamp. So Amanda Thompson, thank you very much indeed for chucking us some feeds earlier today, and your comment has just gone as well, because I'm not fast enough to keep up with them here. But Amanda Thompson, replying to John, says Tom is an angel compared to most of that lot. I'm not sure what that refers to. We do know that the House of Commons comprises, not that they take their seats, but for example, Sinn Féin, ex-IRA type characters. We know that. These people, they were out and around and about killing people, and now they are members of the establishment, in inverted commas, and yet people give Tommy Robinson a hard time because, guess what? He has an opinion. He has an opinion. And by the way, an opinion that most of us share. Hey, Ellie Mae. Chris Ford, what about the elderly lady with 2,500 shield companies? I'm not sure what that's referring to. If anybody has got, maybe this is what Chris is referring to. If anybody's got that video of a lady an elderly lady, I understand, who went in front of the French police yesterday in Paris and descended onto her knees in front of everybody else behind, a lone figure who went onto her knees and basically, looked pleading to the to the forces, the police, whatever, in France, as if to say, please, this is for the people. You serve us, not these Rothschilds. Not the likes of Macron, who's an ex-Rothschilds banker. Once a Rothschilds banker, always a Rothschilds banker.
I think Chris is referring to Finchley.
Referring to what, Chris?
Finchley Street.
Finchley. Oh, Finchley Road. Finchley Road.
That's right.
Gordon Bowden.
Yes.
Gordon Bowden. Yeah, God bless him. Yeah. I hope to do another show with Gordon soon. I know that the campaign surrounding Finchley Road and the incredible corruption surrounding that is the campaign is enormous, and it's doing very, very well. It's certainly hitting Nigel's show on LBC, and it's great news. It's good news to see that. So anyway, Julie Bates, what the left does not realise, there is no bigger crooks than our government. And that's right. And they are so desperate not to see this. The denial is incredible. They got their heads in the sand, and the tide is coming in. It is incredible. These people that are just so desperate to believe. A lot of nonsense. Bring back civics onto the curriculum, huh? David Wolf, the speeches were just begging for votes in a rigged system. David, interesting point. Very good point. Please come in and onto Discord and put that, and let's discuss that, because it is a good point. But on the other hand, how do we do this? Do we just completely turn our backs on the ballot box and then see Corbyn get in, and then it will be Keir Starmer government that will be the result of that, because they'll get rid of Corbyn, and there will be votes for 16s, another second referendum, and we will stay in there, what have you. We need to get some kippers in there, it seems to me. We certainly need to get some people that are on our side in there to try and take up some of the slack and hold whatever government it is to account in a coalition government. We know we're divided. We know that the division is such that we have had two coalitions in a row. Almost certainly we're going to have a coalition next time round as well. We need to be sure that UKIP is going to be involved in that coalition next time, along with the DUP. The DUP that have served us better than any other democracy, better than any other party in Westminster over the course of this parliament, for sure. Nigel Brown, talking about the figures, I guess, well over 100,000, he says. Wow, I mean, that's amazing. Let's look at that picture again. That is absolutely incredible. Just looking at this, that is a bee's hive. Wow. I don't know. I feel really good about what I saw today, Chris. All in all, to me it looks awesome, and it was peaceful, and but I haven't seen how the BBC have covered it yet. I will be taking a BBC newscast at some stage and inserting it into this show, and we can comment on that as it goes. What's the odds? What are they going to say? A few thousand tops? That's probably what they're going to say, isn't it? And then they'll probably say, in fact, I already saw it. On Express. Express, who's supposed to be on our side. Well, of course, they were bought by Remorons halfway through the last couple of years, which was curious in itself. According to the Sunday Express, Brexit betrayal march. Oh, and this isn't the top story, by the way. Oh no, they're leading with Groundhog Day stories, basically. This is the news of today, so far as the UK is concerned. They've got it down about third story down, fourth story down. Thousands of anti-EU protesters are marching in a Brexit betrayal rally led by controversial activist Tommy Robinson at the same time as a rival opposition demonstration is taking place. Protesters carried banners, signs and flags as they descended on central London for the pro-Brexit rally. UKIP leader Gerard Batten was among crowds of demonstrators calling for a hard Brexit. Protesters held signs reading, "Brexit means exit and make Brexit happen," as they took part in the march. And a rival counter-protest is being held by Labour-backed campaigners and anti-fascist groups. Now, I just stopped there, Anti-fascist groups. This is from the Express, This is bullshit. This is just more propaganda. It might as well be from the BBC. The Express has been bought by I don't know who, but isn't it the same people that own the Daily Fail or something? They're just not with it. They are not with the people at all. Who is? Is there anybody, Baxter, who is on our side in the mainstream media?
Besides me, no. Fortunately not.
The Spectator, possibly. I mean, I don't know whether you call them mainstream or not. They certainly got a lot of kudos, rightly or wrongly. They have been putting out one or two interesting stories recently, but no, none of them really, truly are on the side of the people.
You'll have to excuse me. I have to just disappear for a while.
It's all right, mate. That's okay. I'm going to go through.
I'm sat here all day. I need to eat.
Oh yeah. You go and eat, mate. You go and eat.
Thank you.
And
I'll be back in a half an hour.
Good man. Okay, all righty. Okay, we have got Helen Lasky-Smith, who probably can't hear me because she pops on the live show and doesn't know how to do anything after that. Helen, can you hear us? No. Okay. Ronson, can you hear us? No. We've got Splitter as well. Splitter, that's David Laddie, yeah? No, and he's probably shy. I don't know. Okay, all right. Right, what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to have a look at what the fake stream media is talking about today, and then we'll take it from there. And of course, because it was a live show today, a lot of things went wrong technically. Let me just see if I can just get this right, just so that you can see what it is I'm spewing off about, so that we're all kind of on the same page. And there we go. Hold on a sec. There we go. I'm just having to redo all of this. Bear with me, people. Bear with me. Oh, okay. Yeah. And I hope you can see that. If you can't, enlarge your screens or what have you, and you should be able to. Just a bit of a rundown of what they're talking about. So the Sunday Times, May to handbag Brussels in frantic bid to save deal. It's just more rhetoric, isn't it? We know what she's doing. Yeah. The Observer, cabinet splits over second referendum on Brexit deal. Yeah. You know, I mean, if we have a second referendum, it's just going to be chaos. It is such a betrayal. It's untrue. And we will see what's been going on in France, going on in the UK. I'm pretty sure if that happens. Meanwhile, Observer saying police flood into Paris to contain the gilets jaunes, the yellow vests. Sunday Telegraph, May losing grip as party is rocked by resignations. Well, she's had about 20 cabinet resignations since she kind of was parachuted in to rescue the EU or something. Anyway, yeah. We could well see more cabinet resignations this week. Blair asked officials to keep lucrative deals a secret. Well, he's just a crook, basically. He should have been hung years ago. Should have decomposed years ago. The fail. May back me or get Corbyn and no Brexit. No. Yeah. Okay, so the Mail comment, yeah. The Mail. The logic is inescapable. If MPs spend the next 2 days ignoring the noisy fanatics of both sides and seek the true feelings of their ordinary, patriotic and thoughtful voters, they will find strong support for Mrs. May's level-headed, realistic compromise. The alternative is several different kinds of chaos. For crying out loud. You know what? We used to pretend to be a democratic country, didn't we? It's clear that that is not required by the mainstream media, which is basically an offshoot of plutocracy. Novichok is killing me, according to some bloke in the Mirror. Traffickers stole my girl's organs. It would be nice to be able to spend more time on stories like this, but they're sadly relatively, you know, if we can't sort out Brexit, nothing else matters, yeah? Okay, let's see what's going on now in Drudge. Well, they've woken up now. Some bloke who looks as though he's on acid. Schiff declares Trump faces jail. Yeah, sure. Okay, more importantly, war in Paris, riots rock city. Now, excuse me if I'm repeating myself from about 5-6 hours ago a little bit, but obviously what has been happening in France is huge. So let me just recap some of this. Please bear in mind that this is from the point of view of the mainstream media.
A shower of tear gas at Place de la République, raining down on a group gathered after Saturday's Yellow Vest protest swept the French capital. Nearby, some damage to storefronts as police apprehended demonstrators. Similar scenes on the Champs-Élysées as protests wound down. All in all, hundreds were arrested across the city. A successful day, according to the Interior Minister.
Yeah, it looks
The
it.
priority was given to arrests, both before the event as well as during. And they were a deterrent. Gas masks, projectiles, knives, sticks, devices were taken away early.
Mate, you're a projectile. Do you know what I mean? Paris was again the epicenter of clashes as fresh anti-government yellow vest protests swept France for a fourth consecutive weekend. And that's despite Macron's climb down, yeah? Businesses, museums and other attractions in the French capital had shuttered on Saturday in anticipation of the violent new clashes during the critical Christmas shopping season. French Interior Minister Christophe Castaner said 125,000 demonstrators had taken to the streets across the country, including 10,000 in Paris. I think we had more than that in London today. I think we did, quite a lot more. And considering 17.4 million people bothered to go to march to the polls to vote, that's the crucial figure. Paris and other French cities, including Bordeaux, Lyon and Toulouse, saw significant clashes between protesters and police. About 120 protesters and 20 law enforcement officials were injured nationwide, the Interior Minister said. Nearly 1,400 people were arrested. That's a staggering statistic, actually. I've seen other statistics considerably higher than that, but that is a lot of arrests. French PM Edouard Philippe called for dialogue and said President Emmanuel Macron would soon be proposing measures to nourish that dialogue and rebuild national unity. The only way you can rebuild national unity, mate, is by being on the end of a scaffold. The French government is expecting a retreat of last weekend's mayhem when rioters torched cars, looted shops, and defaced the Arc de Triomphe monument on Champs-Élysées Avenue. So yesterday they published a video reminding protesters that demonstrating does not mean resorting to violence. Well, yesterday I released a video on this show. Well, I didn't release it, but I showed it, showing snipers firing into the crowds in France. Can't be sure that that wasn't fake, but we do know that there have been deaths reported. Whether or not it's the result of those snipers, we don't know. You can go back to yesterday's show, look on the timeline at Daily Brexit. You can see the pertinent videos, but there are people that it looks as though they're being shot in the center of Paris. And in other video, there's another video showing snipers on a roof in what looks to be that same vicinity. Yeah, not very nice. And indeed, what does that say? If that's true, if the French executive is killing their own now to try and quell the protests, who is creating the violence here, or the worst of the violence? Because at the end of the day, you can chuck a few bricks through a few windows, but it's not the same as shooting people in the chest. Late Friday night, according to AP, the air on the Champs-Élysées was thick with perfume, heady blends of lavender, rose, and other enticing scents. A day later, what turned out to be yet another angry Saturday, Paris' most famous boulevard simply reeked of tear gas. Clouds of the stuff hung in the air, burning throats but not silencing the sullen, rebellious crowds. Okay, well, that's AP's take. Telegraph wants to know why I am ad blocking. It's because I want you to die, Telegraph, because I'm not prepared to support you and your ads. As far as I'm concerned, you're just another propagandist, a lot of old nonsense. Nonetheless, it's good to see what the enemy is saying. And the fact that you are discussing this now properly after several weeks is at least something, I suppose, but you don't really have any choice, do you? Yellow vest protests, cars burn, and looters raid shops in Paris. So rather than take the angle of what Macron is doing to his country, they are basically doing what the BBC does, talking about, I don't know, right-wing thugs with tattoos and all that rubbish. Anyway, okay, so that's them. Breitbart, Italian priest says Salvini supporters are killing God by opposing mass migration. Oh my God, I'm bloody. Yes, and let's have a look at this. This is an interesting story that's kind of relevant as well. As Brexit goes down the plug hole, in inverted commas, according to Breitbart, Farage prepares a new party for biggest battle yet. I want to hear what you folks have to say about this and whether or not it is just more divide rule. I would like to hear very much what you have to say on that, please. Nigel Farage has confirmed he is planning to launch a new political force to save Brexit, vowing he won't lie down as the political establishment tries to overturn the referendum result. The Brexit pioneer, who resigned from UKIP last week, told the Sunday Telegraph, "I sense within me I have not fought my biggest battle yet. That is how it feels, whether it is happenstance, serendipity, destiny. I am not going to lie down," continued Farage, "and to watch it go down the plug hole. I couldn't do that, and I won't do that. If there are European Parliament elections, I am standing, and I am thinking about vehicles to do that," he added. Well, we're not going to have any MEPs, are we, Nigel? So I don't know how you're going to do that. What, are you going to run in Germany? I don't know. I think you've got a German passport now. I really, really do wonder what the deal is with Farage. Yeah, I got a lot of time for the guy. If it wasn't for him and his brilliant oratory skill, I don't think that we would have got the result that we did get in the referendum. And yet now what he is doing, whether you agree with him or not, it just seems to me that he is splitting the vote with yet another party to vote for when we need to get some representation in Parliament. And UKIP surely is the party best placed to do that. I know some of you folks disagree with that, and I would like to hear what you think. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm often wrong. And that is why I believe in democracy, to balance that. I wish other people were equally pragmatic. Okay. Kenneth Noel Gabriel Curran says, "I can't recall any of today's orators using the word hard in forcing justifiable condemnation of EU unlawful, illegal union. The union, the British Isles of GB, and I, to be sure, be wise, UK setting the record straight, putting things in order." Ellie Mae Renton says there's not going to be a second referendum. That's just scaremongering propaganda because May's scared. Yes, I so hope you're right. Nigel Brown, what bellend started the second referendum nonsense? Another sideshow. Let's start our own sideshow. Actually, you know, I'll tell you, I mean, again, I have to say, one of the people that added fuel to this fire, fanned the flames on this idea, was a certain Nigel Farage, who went on the Matthew Wright show, as I recall, about a year ago and said he might be open to a second referendum. And since then, not just because of what he said there, which might have been a slip of the tongue, but we know that the call for betraying democracy has got way, way, way out of hand to a dangerous dangerous level. Do they realize how dangerous that is across the media aspect of the establishment? Ellie Mae, that was from Ellie Mae Renton. Nigel Brown says, yeah, well, he says what Belen started the second referendum nonsense. She can't cancel it, says Selden McGarry. I mean, that is the deal, isn't it? How do they cancel? No deal. 29th of March, 11 GMT, we leave the EU. Unless there's some kind of a hodgepodge deal. And if so, that's a betrayal. The Brexit is leave. And if they want to discuss trade, which I kind of guess they do, seeing as that they have a trade surplus with us, that we have a deficit with them, it kind of seems to me that the politicians in the EU need to be thinking about what the public want, and the public want to trade with their neighbours. Guess what? For the sake of being able to put food on the table at the end of the week. David Laddie, Ian Huntley, saying he wants a sex change. Kenneth Noel Gabriel Curran also says, King's flag for mass distribution to the people of the Covenant, British Ulster, Irish in the crew. I don't entirely understand that, Kenneth, to be honest with you. But David Laddie, it's in our local paper. George Smith, if we have a general election, there will be a lot of fiddling going on by the Remain side. They are that desperate to keep us in. Yeah. If we have another general election and Labour win and Corbyn is leading the Labour Party, I wonder how long he will be leading the Labour Party before the Blairites regain power of that party and completely betray the British people. And we should know that they're capable. Anybody that is capable of supporting some guy that kills 1 million people in a foreign country, just, you know, Iraq, yeah? Anybody that supports that guy not being put in a prison cell at best are people that cannot be trusted at all to be relatively humane and decent, it seems to me. Amanda Thompson, yes, you did. Thank you. Shared that picture of the woman who was pleading in front of the police authorities. Please put it in the comments again now, because I'm ridiculously disorganized. Selma McGarry, F all to do with fuel. The people are pissed. And yeah, I agree with you. It's gone way beyond a bit of diesel. But of course, yes, they have seen their fuel costs soar. And we see our electricity prices soaring and all the rest of it. That was brought up on the stage today, I think by Neil Hamilton. And correctly, absolutely correctly, we are being strangled financially. Stuart Firth says the Paris Agreement isn't working out so well for Paris, the climate agreement. Protests and riots all over France. People do not want to pay large sums of money, much to third world countries that are questionably run, in order to maybe protect the environment, chanting, "We want Trump, love France." Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, for crying out loud, China doesn't even want to be involved, do they, in cutting emissions, and they are the biggest emitter of the lot. What is the point of the rest of us strangling our middle classes, the job-creating middle classes, and starving the working classes? What is the point of that when over in China they have a one-party state with a self-proclaimed dictator that we support? It's absolutely disgusting. And they don't even support, cutting carbon emissions anyway. Nigel Brown, French people pay more tax than anyone else in Europe. No wonder they're pissed off. And Stuart Firth, Army, armoured vehicles with EU flag storm Paris to quash protests. David Laddie, seen a guy get hit in the face with a rubber bullet, and I saw a very nasty video earlier where another guy, a bit like that lady I mentioned, he went. In fact, it reminded me of Tiananmen Square in China, where that guy with his shopping bag went and sat down in front of that tank, and I don't know what happened to him after that. I think he was run over by that tank. It kind of reminded me a little bit about that. And this guy, who again he went forward in front of the forces and basically just stood up like this in defiance, and he was shot by a rubber bullet in his chest. Why? For going like that? Is that a reason to be shot? Could have hit him in the eye. It could have gone straight into his brain. Very, very nasty. Very, very nasty tactics. And I would hope that the police person involved has been suspended, has been sacked. But of course, that won't be the case. David Wolf, third big row going on at Speaker's Corner. Now, look, if anybody's got any links to what's going on in Speaker's Corner, I'd very much like to cover that. I'd like to cover a little bit of the Carol concert there as well. I kind of imagine that seeing as Speaker's Corner has been taken over by a bunch of Tooth Fairy fanatics from the Middle East, that they won't get a great reception singing English cultural songs, but it would be nice to have a bit of footage of what's going on in Speaker's Corner as well. So if anybody can link us to any of that, that would be great, and I'll play it. David Wolf, yeah, I've just said that. Kenneth Noel, Gabriel Curran says mayhem and a cross stitch. Mr. care of number 10 and the Square Mile Banksters, fiddling with truth, fiddling the books, and fiddling with children. Well said, sir. Millstones around the neck. Anyone causing hurt or harm or injury to a child of St. Matthew et al. Seldom McCarry, don't even go there, which I guess is referring to Speaker's Corner. No, well, that could be referring to so many things, Seldom. Farage is after splitting the vote. His dummy is out, says David Laddie. Eddie Cope, Farage is a sellout. Ellie Mae Renton, Farage will get very little support after what he's done. He's a traitor. Seldom McGarry, Mans, I can't repeat that, but he doesn't seem to like Nigel Farage. John Upperdeen, Canada has opted in. We had our first yellow vest protest across different provinces. It will gain momentum. Also, there is a petition against the UN Pact, the Migration Pact, with 50,000 plus signatures gaining momentum. Pray for us in Canada. And John, are you in Canada, John? I didn't know that. I thought you were in the UK. I kind of assumed you were because I know you're a dragon. But yeah, God bless you, Canadian cousins. David Wolf, the language he is using is interesting. I'm not sure who you're referring to, David. Seldom McGarry Mans. Okay, I can't read that. Yeah. And Christopher Mitchell, Nigel Farage and LBC is scared of talking about Finchley Road, 788 to 790, and cuts people off for talking about it. I wonder why. Yeah, I wonder why too. And it's interesting. I listen to Nigel on LBC, and I look at the comments alongside on Facebook, and there are a lot of comments about Finchley Road, and he doesn't seem to pick up on any of them. Chris Rumbold, second referendum. Amber Rudd's Norway possibility, etc., etc., etc. All diversions to make us take our eye off what is really going down. Some great points here, people. I do hope you're going to come and join us on Discord and elaborate a little bit more on some of these points. Nigel Brown, money laundering by the government. Kerry is talking about Finchley Road, asking what Finchley Road is. And yeah, basically it is just a lot of people that are nicking our wealth. Victor Edward V says Blair may be president next month. Now, I think that's Alan, yeah? Hey, Alan. God forbid. God forbid. I would have thought that would stir so much unrest that would fan the flames, but maybe maybe that's what they want, huh? I mean, what logic is there to this strategy of these elites? They see that the people are highly frustrated, to use diplomatic language, and yet they continue on this berserk, illogical course of action of ignoring the people, their grassroots, to the point that their parties are in severe jeopardy at the polls come the next general election, and yet they continue. What is the logic behind that, unless we are coming towards an end game? And it is something that I have to say that it is very, very concerning. Yeah, it's very, very concerning. I know that Caroline, for example, who's here, talks a lot about 5G. It's something I tend not to talk about a great deal because I try to keep focused purely on Brexit and propaganda. However, I agree. I agree with everything that you say. The concerns that you have and that other people have about 5G, it really does make you wonder if we're coming into a kind of an endgame scenario now where suddenly the stakes are off the scale and we don't quite know what we're getting into. Some people would say, well, it's conspiracy theory. Yeah, well, some of us really looked at what happened with 9/11 and we just cannot trust them. We clearly cannot trust them. They're perfectly capable of killing their own. And probably 9/11 is a pretty puny example, actually. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's have a look and see at some other news stories. Breitbart's take on Paris, maybe a little bit more rounded than was AP's, for example. Let's see what they say. Paris monuments are reopening. Cleanup workers are out on the streets and shop owners are trying to put the city on its feet again. Now, hold on a sec. This is the 9th. This is today, yeah. They don't have a time, unfortunately. But I suspect that is it's post yesterday anyway. We know that. And shop owners are trying to put the city on its feet again after new protests and rioting injured 71 people in the French capital and caused widespread damage. President Emmanuel Macron broke his silence to tweet appreciation for the police, but pressure mounted Sunday on him to propose new solutions to calm the anger dividing France. I don't think he's qualified to do that, is he? The number of injured in Paris and nationwide was down Saturday from protest riots a week ago, but France's exceptional police deployment failed to deter determined protesters. Some 125,000 took to the streets Saturday around France with a bevy of demands. Fierce winds and rain pummeled Paris overnight, complicating the effort to clean up tear gas canisters and debris left by protesters, fires and looting. So actually a very threadbare report from Breitbart. Let's have a look at one or two of the comments that they have there, because the commentators at these rags tend to be far more accurate than the people writing the stories, in my opinion. Henrietta, top comment. So the French have a president who tweets from a safe hiding place. Does he think the modernity of tweeting somehow makes him look trendy? I am sure the French want a president who would be out on the streets talking to the police face to face and looking at the damage himself. He should resign, or whatever it is that presidents do, and go. He might be forced out tomorrow. There is a vote of confidence on his presidency, as I understand it, in Paris tomorrow. So that's going to be very interesting. He has to be careful. Someone might tread on him, says Tassie Tyke. He's probably getting a good rogering, as we type, by Soros. And after he didn't say that. And afterwards, he'll be having to make up. He'll be having his makeup man visiting to help him feel more confident as he contemplates what Napoleon would have done. And yeah, apparently, according to the Daily Fail the other day, he spends about 8,000 euros a month on makeup. That is a cover-up! Right, okay, fine. So yeah, that's them. Let's have a quick look at the Express then, and what they're considering is the most important story of the day. And it is just Groundhog Day. It's like a story that you might as well not bother running, really. The story today for the British people, for democracy, for our future, was what happened in London today. That was the story today. The Express decides that it's Donald Tusk. Brexit Live. What is May planning? Donald Tusk. Oh, hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. Oh, that's David Davis. Look. Donald Tusk posts cryptic tweet on fate of Brexit. Theresa May is facing increased pressure to delay Tuesday's vote, following as a swarm of ministers join those opposing her withdrawal agreement. Well, let's hope so. About bloody time. Sources claim she is preparing to negotiate further with Brussels, while EC President Donald Tusk posted a cryptic message about Brexit's fate on Twitter. This is when you realise that their headline is absolute clickbait and that he probably said absolutely nothing. Let's see what he did tweet to justify their top story. The Prime Minister has faced barrage of resignation threats, with MPs warning the Prime Minister they will not back her withdrawal agreement in the House of Commons on Tuesday, with over 100 MPs, 104 actually, Tories as I understand it, threatening to thwart her deal, with it looking likely that her bill will be rejected in the crunch vote. Ministers and aides expect her to announce a delay on the vote on Monday. But on Sunday afternoon, EC President Donald Tusk posted a cryptic message on Twitter, you've said that 3 times now, alluring to the fate of Brexit and sparking comments, show us the tweet! Andrew Mitchell became the 108th Conservative MP, according to them, to oppose the deal on Saturday evening. Now, that would be a contender for a top story, but they just shove it in the 4th or 5th paragraph. Defence Secretary Gavin Williams' parliamentary aide, Colchester MP Will Quince, quit over the Irish backstop issue. An issue which is a trade issue, let's not forget, people. It's a trade issue. It's not a divorce issue. They did not allow us to discuss the trade talks and the divorce in parallel. You may recall that Theresa May said, no, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, yes. Lovely remorons. La, 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 la. That's fine. Well, it wasn't, was it? Because then they used the back... Well, I mean, she could have said that's got nothing to do with the divorce agreement anyway. Or guess what? We need to talk trade at the same time to resolve this matter. And if you've got any morality, you'll stick out of British Isles affairs. And you will allow us to retain the peace that we've managed to conjure across the Irish island over the course of the last 20-odd years. But she didn't, did she? She didn't. She said, oh, no, that's a great, good idea. You know what? That's a great idea. Let's do that because that'll help to keep us in. And that's precisely what is happening. Many people discussed it at the time when she said, no, we don't need parallel talks. That's fine. We agree with you. That's fine. We now know the reality of what we're seeing and how wrong that was. It's coming into fruition. Seeing that. I still don't see his tweet. I still don't see Tusk's tweet. The Prime Minister warned her party that if they vote against her Brexit deal, they risk handing power to Jeremy Corbyn and being stuck permanently in the EU. Fear. Senior Tories and aides to the Prime Minister warned that she has to fight for a deal that Brexiteers are satisfied with or risk a defeat that could see her ousted from office by Christmas. State the bleeding obvious. Theresa May has been warned she may lose power if she doesn't return to Brussels to renegotiate the terms of her deal. According to the Times, and still no reference to their headline, by the way. According to the Times, Mrs. May is preparing to head back to Brussels to reopen negotiations in an attempt to save the government from collapse. One source said people in number 10 thinks she needs to have a handbag moment. Maggie T, huh? Where she says, up with this, I will not put. I think that's a Yoda reference or something, isn't it? Defence Minister Elias Elwood told the newspaper that he was ready to back a referendum, but would back the deal if there was a vote on Tuesday. Just wait. So okay. Oh, finally the tweet. Oh, okay. Finally the tweet from Donald Tusk down here. I had a phone call with PM Theresa May. It will be an important week for the fate of Brexit. Oh, I tell you what, it is clickbait. Yeah, it is clickbait. They have an update, 3:40 p.m. update this afternoon. Donald Tusk tweets about phone call with Mrs. May and teases fate of Brexit. Yeah, right. Okay, well, yeah, absolute rubbish. They are also saying Raab claims EU wanted to keep backstop short before May changed direction. Now, that is a curious story. Former Brexit Secretary Dominic Raab revealed EU negotiator Michel Barnier originally agreed a backstop arrangement should be time-limited and finite until Theresa May took the deal in a different direction. Speaking to Sky's Sophie Ridge, the Conservative MP claimed that Mr. Barnier told him he understood the Brexit backstop needs to be short after being challenged over making it finite. Mr. Raab added he made clear to PM Theresa May that the UK should have stood firm, adding a robust line should now be taken, given the room for movement on the issue. You know, it's so damn simple. Even at this late stage, it is so simple. We just say to them, talk trade, or it's no deal. That's it. That's it. We do want to have a deal about certain reciprocal arrangements concerning perhaps security. I'm not talking about PESCO. I'm talking about intelligence on terrorism. Yeah. And for example, we don't want planes not being able to fly across Europe, or for French planes not to be able to fly to the United States across the UK territory, for example, which would be the case. It would affect them just as much, if not more, than it would affect us, the flying stuff, etc., etc., etc. Certain reciprocal arrangements, yes. It would be nice if we could share resources, for example, when it comes to education and teaching, scholastic endeavors and stuff like that. That would be great. But it's a detail. All of these are details compared to retaining one's sovereignty. The priority is sovereignty, and it is not at all inconceivable, it seems to me, that even at this late stage we could turn around to them and say, no, you know what? No deal. No deal. If that's what it comes to, that's fine. Because the bottom line is that they are going to suffer way, way, way more than we will. Everybody would suffer. It's not good for anybody, sure. In the short term. In the short term, it will be a big hiccup for everybody. But guess what? The people in France were already talking. The people in Germany, even in Belgium now. Apparently they were trying to storm the EU Parliament yesterday, for crying out loud. People all over, and Bulgaria even. People are, and the Netherlands too. People are all over Europe. They haven't got a government in Sweden. They've got an ineffectual government, if any government really at all, in the Netherlands, for example. In Germany, they've got no government. In France, they've got an ineffectual government, apparently. In Spain, they've had a technocratic government for the last 2 years or so. Before that, they didn't have a government for a year or so. Now Vox, which is the equivalent of UKIP, if you like, have just got in Andalusia, the southern part of Spain, which is a bit like UKIP taking the West Country off the Lib Dems. Europe is absolutely buggered unless they continue to trade with the UK. They need our trade more than we need theirs. All we need to do, even at this late stage, is to say, talk trade or all bets are off. And unfortunately, we have traitors running the show. So anyway, there you go. They then finally talk about the main story of the day in the Express, whatever it is. Brexit betrayal march. Thousands march through London demanding hard Brexit. And I read that off my phone a bit earlier, and until they start using words like insinuating that everybody on that march were fascists, and then it just is too sickening to read any further. But anyway, RT, Russia Today, it's funny, isn't it? Their coverage on Ruptly today, apart from I can't remember who, but of all the mainstream press, it's the Russians that are covering what was going on today. The Russians, not us, the Russians. It was going on our streets in London town. Incredible. Anyway, let's have a quick look and see what RT has been saying today, one way and another. Their top story is France, which is understandable because that really is a pretty massive story. Looking at it from a foreign perspective, the French foreign minister demanded that Donald Trump doesn't meddle into the country's affairs. Okay, sorry, this headline is "Leave Our Nation Be." French foreign minister fires back at Trump's tweet on yellow vest rallies. He's been proven right as Trump, hasn't he? Again. The French foreign minister demanded that Donald Trump doesn't meddle in the country's affairs, as though they haven't tried to meddle in US affairs. Earlier, the US leader blamed the Paris climate change agreement for sparking anti-fuel tax protests that swept France. Definitely a big part of it. Jean-Yves Le Drian said that we do not take domestic American politics into account, and we want that to be reciprocated. Leave our nation be, he insisted. Further, the minister reacted to Trump's recent tweet in which he blamed the climate change deal for essentially causing the yellow vest unrest, which has been going on for weeks now. The Paris Agreement isn't working out so well for Paris. Protests and riots all over France, President Trump had tweeted. I personally cannot take the Paris Accord seriously, that climate thing seriously, given that they didn't talk about some very, very simple remedies to help with global warming, if it's true, or whatever the reason of it is. What about packaging? I every morning, I just after breakfast today, I already had a load of plastic stuff on the side next to the sink, which, went into the plastics. And then some of it is like, is it plastic? Is it paper? I don't know. Is that plastic or paper? I do not know whether to put it in the plastics or the paper. If they can't even sort out something as basic as packaging, how do they expect us to accept that we can be taxed whilst they're not addressing these basic points? Grow hemp. Grow hemp. If they grew hemp, that's the marijuana thing, very fibrous, brilliant. Henry Ford used it to make his cars, for crying out loud. If they grew hemp, they could save, I understand, maybe this is slightly wrong, but as I understand it, 4 billion trees a year if we were to utilize hemp, which is a bumper crop. It just grows like a weed. It is a weed. That's why they call it weed. But of course, they don't talk about that, because the fact is that, I don't know, it just seems to me that they're using this whole climate thing as a way to just destroy us, It just seems to me. But anyway, that's RT's top story. The French basically having a bit of a go at Donald Trump. Guess what? Surprise, surprise. Times made to handbag Brussels in frantic bid to save deal. So, we covered that. Politics is broken. So here comes Nigel Farage. This is the new party thing. Okay, all right. No real news there on what we haven't already seen. Groniad, climate change, US and Russia ally with Saudi Arabia to water down pledge. Okay. And, here we go. Okay, they are actually covering London today. That's very kind of them. Let's see what their take is. The Guardian, pseudo-Marxists actually condoning fascism on a daily basis. The Guardian. Riot police deployed as opposing demonstrations march through central London ahead of Tuesday's parliamentary vote on Theresa May's deal. Thousands protest against Tommy Robinson's Brexit march amid Tory infighting. Okay, so their headline is Thousands Protest Against Tommy Robinson Brexit March, as opposed to thousands protest against this government being at war with democracy. That's the story. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, might as well. Is this written by George Soros? Is he that busy? He's in the Guardian newsroom going, it looks like it. It looks like it. They might as well have Bob Geldof as their editor. I'll tell you, it's important, though, to know what the enemy is saying, the art of war and all that, which is why I go through this extremely frustrating stuff, people. An hour ago, they were saying Dr. Rosina Alin Khan has become the latest member of the shadow cabinet to declare their support for the People's Vote campaign. The Losers Vote campaign, call it what it is. We had a People's Vote. Alin Khan, somebody else I've never heard of, by the way. Have you? I mean, that's a typical shadow. I haven't even heard of half of them in the cabinet, let alone the shadow cabinet. MP for Tooting, apparently, in South London. It's probably what she puts up her nose. And Labour's shadow minister for sport, speaking at the People's Vote and Best for Britain rally, said, I launched a local Brexit poll asking people to give me their views on the Brexit deal. And today I published the results. 90% of local people want a People's Vote. Parliament has a decision to make in the next few days which will alter the course of history for the UK, for us and for our children. The current government is run on confidence and supply, but let's be straight. Confidence is in very short supply. Let's end the economic uncertainty, let's end the fear-mongering, and let's have a campaign on the facts. If calls for a general election are rejected, I'll be backing a People's Vote. So hold on a sec. So she's saying that despite the fact that 80% of those that voted at the last election voted for parties that endorsed honouring the referendum, i.e. they voted for the Conservative Party or the Labour Party, she now wants to see another general election where with a Labour Party that is talking about another referendum, and she thinks that that's somehow democratic. I'm going to not shout now, which I normally would, because I can't be bothered. I'm fed up with it. Since you're here, you have... Oh, no, okay, they want money. Yeah, of course they do. As well as the Brexit Betrayal March and the county demonstration in central London, where's the story about democracy, the fight for democracy today? They got a picture of bloody Heseltine on there. Should be hanging from a rope, in my opinion, that man. Quite frankly, after what he did, getting rid of Maggie Thatcher and putting in that remor on Major so that we could be delivered with Maastricht. Okay, the not-so-independent, their take on the most important story of the day is that Boris Johnson will take personal responsibility for job losses under his alternative Brexit plan. Let's have a quick look at this. I know that he was on Andrew Moron's show earlier. Boris Johnson says he will take personal responsibility for job losses under his alternative Brexit plan as leadership talk heats up. Mr. Johnson did not directly rule out standing against the Prime Minister in a potential contest, so there's really no news yet. Boris Johnson has said he would be willing to take personal responsibility for jobs lost if Britain pursued his Brexit plan instead of Theresa May's. Mr. Johnson did not categorically rule out standing against the Prime Minister in a potential contest, something he is expected to do, but said people do not want to hear about leadership elections and personalities right now. The ex-cabinet minister said Ms. May's deal, as it stands, is an absurdity and that she would have to return to Brussels and renegotiate the controversial section on the Irish backstop. It comes as Tory Brexiteer Esther McVey said she would run for the leadership if asked by colleagues, while ex-cabinet minister Dominic Raab also said he would not rule it out. Do you trust any of these people? Speaking on BBC One's Andrew Moron show, Mr. Johnson was asked if he would take personal responsibility for jobs lost. He said, yes, of course I will. Do not underestimate the deep sense of personal responsibility I feel for Brexit, for everything that has happened. Do not underestimate how much I care about this. Right, okay, so that's his take on it. Yeah, that's his take on it. Okay, and they also do manage to mention the big story of the day, whilst using the words far right in their sub-headline, I see. Brexit betrayal, March. As it happened, Tommy Robinson and UKIP lead London protest amid huge police operation. Police appeal for people to protest peacefully amid disorder fears. And so did Gerard Batten, and so did Tommy Robinson. By the way, I bet they don't mention that in this story. But at least they are concentrating this story on the Brexit betrayal march, as opposed to the losers' counter-demonstration. Thousands of people took to the streets in central London in a Brexit betrayal protest led by Tommy Robinson and UKIP. Counter-demonstrators and anti-fascists, those words again, held a separate protest, which they claim drew 15,000 people, although there has been no official crowd size estimates. I'll bet they haven't, looking at those pictures I showed. The Metropolitan Police appealed for both sides to vote, to protest peacefully, etc., blah-de-blah-de-blah. Zero Hedge, which is easily the best read of all of these so far in terms of reality. Let's see what they've got. They're really looking at France here. Economic catastrophe. Zero Hedge's got a stateside perspective, of course. Economic catastrophe. Yellow vest protests cripple French businesses. Foreign minister slams Trump. The yellow, and this is Tyler Durden over at Zero Hedge, their editor. God bless him. The yellow vest protests, which have gripped France for a fourth week, with an estimated 136,000 protesters marching in France yesterday, have been an economic catastrophe, according to Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire, calling the situation a crisis for both democracy and society, reports the BBC. I bet the BBC didn't put it quite that way, though. A staggering 1,939 people were arrested. 1,939 people were arrested on yesterday, across France, according to Zero Hedge. 1,082 of them in Paris alone. These are massive statistics. Can you imagine if that had been the case today in London? Unbelievable statistics, including 52. Now, hold on a sec. Who's that? Who's that in my ear? I'll come back to you in a sec. Including 52 women and 95 minors, while 264 people were injured in the anti-government protests, which have seen widespread looting and violence. Most of the suspects were arrested for acts of violence against a person in the custody of the public authority, possession of explosive products, or carrying weapons, according to BFM TV, which I've not heard of. But the 10,000 or so yellow vests who took to the streets of Paris on Saturday smashed windows, burned cars, and looted shops, and probably just wanted to be heard. You know, they're at the end of their tether. What do they do? What do they do? There was much more damage yesterday than a week ago, due to the fact that the protests covered a larger area of the city, according to Deputy Mayor Emmanuel Grégoire, though he noted that there were fewer injuries versus last week. Economic impact. While the dust is still settling from Saturday's protest, it's clear the damage to the economy has been severe. And they are quoting, I suppose, the BBC by the looks of it. On Friday, the French Retail Federation told Reuters news agency that retailers had lost about €1 billion since the protests first began on the 17th of November. Good! Where it hurts. That is the way to get them to pay attention, frankly, if all else fails. Mr. Le Maire said last week, before the most recent protests, that the restaurant trade had declined by between 20 and 50%. Meanwhile, this is on the run-up to Christmas, yeah. Meanwhile, the authorities in Paris say that riots have caused millions of pounds of damage. There are concerns that the protests could lead to a drop in tourism. Yeah, I imagine that the migrant situation in Paris has done that pretty well as well. Paris was visited by a record number of tourists in 2017, more than 40 million, the Paris Tourism Office said last month. I don't believe that. I do not believe that. Not seeing those pictures underneath the bridges of the Seine with all those migrants camped out there, frankly. But I may be wrong. French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian, meanwhile, lashed out at President Trump for mocking Macron when he tweeted, "The Paris Agreement isn't working out so well for Paris. Protests and riots all over France. People do not want to pay large amounts of money, much to third world countries that are questionably run in order to maybe protect the environment." That's right. Chanting, "We want Trump, love France." Yeah. And in response, Drian said, "We do not take domestic American politics into account, and we want that to be reciprocated," adding, "Leave our nation be," as I'd already said. According to France 24, Macron will meet with the heads of the Senate, the National Assembly, and unions on Monday at the Élysée Palace. Meanwhile, and then they just have a bit of a vid. Let's have a look at this. Paris is still on fire. How long before we see this in London? Nigel Brown is asking, do you class migrants as tourists? Yeah, that's maybe how they justify their figures. Oh, that's funny. David Laddie also says, okay, mince and tatties. BBIAB. Helen Lasky-Smith, I noticed that the French frenzy was slotted in, and it looked like it was part of ours, which was well behaved. Macron has hid away and got security bars around his palace. Yeah, where has he been? It's a bit like the Queen kind of drifted off after Diana died. And her people kind of wanted to hear from the head of state. And it seems to be the case with this Macroni bloke over this whole thing. His silence has been deafening, and he really just looks like a coward to me anyway. John Upperdine, the globalist, mask is off, and the people are rising. Now he's got some images here which I'll try and bring you. The globalist mask has slipped, and the people all over the West are rising up. The European Union is the continuation of the German plan for total dominance, the Fourth Reich, Greater Germany. And it does look like that. It does look like that.
There's been so much going on. The protests in France and Belgium and Germany and now the Netherlands are catching on. The yellow vest protest, they call it Gilets jaunes in France. The media is barely covering it. It's been going on for weeks and getting more and more riotous. They're going to show that. They'll show the cars on fire. They'll show the violence. They'll show the blood, of course, and they'll say it's far-right groups, and they won't give the real reason, and they'll say that it's hooligans and it's meaningless and the normal people are just happy and going about their day. But this is all lies. Regular people are getting up off their rear ends, and they're trying to say no to globalism, no to the climate tax, no to the migration pact, no to globalism. These people want their nation states. Germany wants to be Germany. The Netherlands wants to be the Netherlands. France wants to be France. On and on. Everybody wants to be free, to be who they are.
Yep.
And you notice the globalists, how they do it. They tell you that their pursuit of human rights and global governance is all about allowing people to be who they are, live where they want to live, be whatever gender they want to be, not face discrimination. Yes, everybody except the actual people of the nations, the people who built the
people that pay their salaries,
who built the infrastructure and pay the taxes and worked all their lives.
That's right. Whose forebears died for the culture, etc., etc. I don't know who Amazing Polly is, but she sounds lovely. So thank you, and thank you, John, for posting that video, and I'll watch the rest of that later. And you guys too can. There is the link in the comments. Sherry Arnott says our sovereignty is not for sale or negotiable. That's right. Jane Middleton, civil war will break out all over Europe, and that's when the foot soldiers will do their worst. David Laddie, sharpen your pitchforks, people. And Jane Middleton says, mine's ready. Pitchfork. David Laddie, good. Nigel Brown, it's a sad state of affairs when you have to go to Russia for decent news. It is, isn't it? It's absolutely bizarre. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Seldom McGarry, London town. God bless it, the smoke. Kerry J. Swan, we need a Putin or a Trump, someone with backbone. Yes. Someone who cares. Bob Stroud, very frustrating today for me. A Brexit march turned into a UKIP recruitment drive. Patriots don't just belong to UKIP. The speakers were carefully chosen by Gerard Batten and very boring. Yeah, Bob. Well, it's true that Brexit must not be hijacked by any group. I would agree with that. But I would also say that it was only UKIP with Tommy Robinson that deigned to demonstrate today. And so I think that's why that happened. But nonetheless, I do sympathise with that view, whilst also being a supporter of UKIP. John Upperdine says Donald Trump could be taking Macron out for a long holiday soon to Gitmo. Yeah. Chris Rumbold, Owen Jones, Snowflake Central, yeah, gained his degree today from the Diane Abbott Academy of Mathematics by going online and saying the Brexit far-right march was attended by a token 1,500 people. That is a complete lie. There is no way it was just 1,500 people there. You do the maths. Work out how many people fit into a square meter. Just that picture I showed. Work out how many meters of tarmac there were. And they were spilling into the parks in that picture. Just in that picture alone, there were thousands. But then Owen Jones is such a tosser. David Laddie, MP's husband in charge of the weed in UK. I don't know quite what you mean there, David, to be honest with you, but I'm sure they'd like to control it. Stay Vickers. Live in London, Speaker's Corner. Okay, let's have a look at this. Let's look at this. Let's see what's going on right now. Speaker's Corner. It used to be Speaker's Corner. I think it's Imam's Corner these days or something, isn't it? Frankly. Let's have a look.
And who has the government? Can a nigga talk? Do I have privilege to talk?
It sounds as though they're all getting along.
Do we have freedom of speech? Is there freedom of speech?
What is the UK?
Is it slavery?
Is it? I don't know. It's a corporation. That's run by the government. So if you actually want to play,
that's not funny. He's chatting to his dog. Because if you go on government house and he's typing the UK,
I thought they were going to be singing Christmas carols.
It's a corporation. It's run by who?
I'm talking about history of this country.
No. Yes. No. Why do you always play that card?
No, but it's true though. I'm a landlord.
I promise you. racist. Look how many are here, and let them try and be racist to me, and you'll see I'm not a victim. I promise you I'm not a victim. No, people saying I'm a victim. I'm not a victim.
The way is, no, this is what we say.
Silence, stop it.
Even behind closed doors, so even behind closed doors, and in government, it's still racist. So how can we move on if the government needs to be changed and the people need to be changed?
No, you are supposed to represent, excuse me, you are listen to me.
Tell that to your government when they're dropping bombs on innocent women and children all over the world.
There we go, that don't
should we be funded back then?
The best way you should be standing with us against it.
African people be funded back for the stuff that was stolen from them from the
Is that happening here, Raspberg?
Oh, it's obviously not.
Museums are right here, no? These museums are full of stuff that is true.
It's happening everywhere else, where other people are.
So, no, but my point is we can't come along together if our problems have not been apologised for.
Okay, they're not having a picnic by the sounds of it. Right. What's Farage's new party called? Asked Kerry J. Swan. Good question. No idea. No idea. Is he doing something with Bill Etheridge and other folks as well? I know Bill is Libertarian Party now. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. It's very hard to keep up. David Laddie, The Dreamers, Kerry. And Helen Grieg, no more votes, please. We already had it. Kenneth Noel Gabriel Curran, who has the longest name of anybody on this around this show. Utilize Willow too. House made of sticks. An alternative to an igloo. Yeah, talking about my reference to hemp, yeah, which is brilliant for example, isolation. You can build houses out of it. Yeah, all sorts of things. Clothes. This is the reason that cannabis, largely the reason why cannabis has never been allowed. Because it's not so much because of cannabis. It's because they don't want the byproduct, the hemp. Actually, marijuana should be the byproduct. It's the hemp that's the really valuable crop for building, for clothes, for medicine, for all sorts of things. All sorts of things. It's a wonder product. It's a wonder product. Grows so quickly, 3 months, and you got another thing, put it out the ground, shove another seed in, and up it grows. And it doesn't take up much space. It grows so damn easily. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Utilize Willow too, says Kenneth. A house made of sticks, an alternative to an igloo. And hey man, yeah man, grow some hemp. Chew on it. Make a rope for the treacherous, treasonous traitors paying lip service to the truth whilst children suffering. The Royal Navy, I understand, used to make ropes, boat ropes, out of hemp. The US Constitution is written on hemp that was farmed by George Washington, for crying out loud. Bob Stroud says, get on board with the European people and bring down the EU. Down. Get out of our own little bubble. And it actually gives me hope. What I'm seeing on the continent now, that we could do that. This Brexit thing is also Frexit, Italexit, etc., etc., and that we have this common cause, whilst wishing to retain our own identities, to have this mutual respect with our European neighbours, not the same federation, break down the borders and all that nonsense. A false flag, says Kenneth Noel Gabriel Curran, a false flag to give an excuse to delaying the vote. I'm not sure what he's referring to there. Stuart Firth, singing at Speaker's Corner, Our Street. Our Street. Kerry J. Swan, Ollie Pop put Speaker's Corner on. Well, it's here, but they're just... let's have another listen. They don't seem very happy.
The vicar over there wants to know a word of you. It's about what? So I'll just give you a man's cake. What's the cars and the older about No way.
See you later. See you later. Really? I'm off, guys.
All right, mate.
Yeah.
See you later. Be careful.
Christmas, yeah, I'm off with James.
All right, mate.
Guys, I think I'm going to shut all mate.
All right, mate. Nice to some of you. Everything on my back.
Helen, are you there? Can you hear me on Discord? Can you hear me? She says on Facebook, she says, I've been trying to get through on Discord for ages, Ollie. I know, you've been on here all day, and we haven't heard from you. I've been trying to wake you up, girl. You're there now. I can see you are. You're not muted this end, so pipe up, and I'll shut up, Helen, very gladly, and you can give us your thoughts on the day. Baxter is around in about 2, and so is Splitter. David Laddie. If any of you want to have a chat, please do. If you want to call in, please do. Going to be running for another hour and 15 minutes. Then I'm going to be handing over to Axiom Curb, to PJ Tansley and the guys at Axiom. In the meantime, please call in and tell me what you think, as opposed to just having the benefit of the doubt of my spiel. Let's have a debate. And tell me, you're wrong, Ollie, you're wrong. And this is why. I want to hear it. Nobody has all the answers. I do know that. Bob Stroud, carol singers moved out of Speaker's Corner, but they let Muslims pray. I'm leaving the pictures there, and as soon as we see anything interesting, I'll turn the volume back up. Stuart Firth, or if anybody's got a better link, please, just bung it over. Stuart Firth, large group speaker corner. Let's hope that it stays peaceful, yeah. Selden McGarry, another, okay, I can't repeat that. I reckon you guys are testing. Kenneth says, whatever happened to the dead pig's head poked by, call me Dave, the snout scratcher. Boris, for the Olympic bungee jumping competition. Yeah, that's right. I tell you, those Bullingdon Club boys, they really are, yeah, okay. David Laddie, Osborne ate it, Kenneth. Ate the pig's head after, oh dear, okay, better thinking about. Helen says, I noticed that the French frenzy was slotted in, and it looked like it was part of ours, which was well behaved. Macron was hid away. Oh yeah, I had that comment earlier. I don't know why that's come back. Santa got the sack. P45s for parliamentarians, etc. Can't get down the chimney. Health and safety experts won't permit. Our souls saved, says Kenneth. Noel Gabriel Curran. And he also says, while the media feast on the blood and the pain and the hatred. Helen Lasky-Smith, we know that the demos are covered up and makes it look like we aren't doing nothing. The peasants are revolting, says Nigel Brown. Stay Vickers. Oh, look at that. Now, hold on a sec. Big debate going on here. Is this the same link that I was just looking at Speaker's Corner? I don't know. Let's have a look. This is on Aaron Sexton's feed, who I pulled earlier. He was giving us some information from the march earlier. Gratefully received. Yeah, I think it is the same. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Let's have a look at it anyway. No debate at the moment. Maybe we've missed it. Keep an eye. Get an idea, better idea of the numbers there here, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're not trying to ruin the person.
Oh, it looks like there's a fun fair going on in Hyde Park.
Welcome to the Irish slave masters. They're probably over there in that fair. Didn't we say that? In that fair. They're probably over there in Winter Wonderland.
Are we able to have an adult discourse?
We're all slaves. What are you talking about?
Amy's free.
I'm going to let you talk about
We're all slaves.
Amy's free.
You're all attached to a thing called the birth certificate. You're all slaves.
What?
You are all slaves. You're all attached to a thing called the birth certificate. You're all slaves.
You're a slave too, right?
I am a slave.
Okay, good. I thought you were discriminating.
Check your birth certificate out. It say you're Christian. I'm in it 11. What's that? It's an add-on. Then you've got your surname, it's all capitalised. You're a corporation.
That's right. Just because I have a name and I have a religion, I'm a slave? Man,
you're a slave to this government.
Cool, right.
Wakey.
If I was a slave to the government, I'd stop at the flashlight. I was the stoplight. I don't stop at the stoplight. Like, look up the definition of slave before you speak, please.
Look at your bank account, mate.
You don't think you're a slave?
Jews got reparations. Yeah? Jews got reparations. Most of the white. Are you gonna cut me? Why are you cutting me? Are you civilized? Are you civilized? Why are you cutting me? Don't let you speak. Why are you cutting me? Can I finish my sentence? This is what they're saying. Civilize yourself, baby. So you let me finish. So she got a hat in the hat. Yeah, she got a handle the truth. And because I'm speaking truth, she has to cut me. This is why. Yeah?
Okay, that guy deserves to be cut off because he doesn't even know what a slave is, and the fact that he is a slave. Helen Lasky-Smith says, I've got an echo. The reason, Helen, you've got an echo, when you come in on Discord, and I just pulled you back in onto the live show, is because you have to turn off the volume on your Facebook, on the show there, and then you won't have any echo on Discord when you speak. And you should be able to speak on Discord unless you're muted your end, but I don't think you are, because I think it would show here that you are. I'm going to have a chat with you privately to try and sort out your tech for another time if we don't manage to work it out today. Maybe one day this week. Look, Daily Brexit's back, yeah? Yeah. Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock. Except this coming Friday, because I'm not going to be around this coming Friday. But Monday to Friday, weekdays, basically, 6 o'clock for an hour each day. Daily Brexit. Oh, hold on a sec. I'll come back. Let's have a laugh. This guy's having a chat.
Allah is not a God of creation. He can say that extremism in the Quran. But killing babies and children is not extremism. If you don't
I'm sorry. I don't even want to hear about tooth fairies. Right. Okay. So, yeah, Monday to Friday. If you want to check us out, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic and wonderful. And there was a reason I was going to say that. Yes, because Discord is the way. It's a great way to bring in people and get different views and what have you. I know it can get a bit. What's the word? Crowded, if you like, with maybe people occasionally speaking over each other. The plan is pretty much the same format as before, with a guest each day, and I'll interview the guest for the first half hour of the show, and then bring in people to put their calls, their comments, their questions, their thoughts to the guest, to the rest of us about whatever. And at about 6:30 each day until the end of the show. And so that's the kind of the format. So yeah, it'd be great if folks could get on Discord for that. Want to hear what you have to say. I'll try and keep it organized without people speaking over each other too much. It's a compromise between that and people not being heard and it just being me. And that is not what I want this show to be. I'm fine to be the glue to produce this thing, but I do not, I want this to be about what people have to say, yeah, and I do not necessarily have the answers, and often am wrong. I know that, and have been proven wrong many times, not least on this show, and so it is important to hear what everybody else has to say as well. So it's a compromise between getting people on Discord and having a bit of a roundtable discussion, and it becoming a bit chaotic. And so I'll just try and improve, and field the whole thing a little bit better than has sometimes been the case in the past. But hey, perseverance and all that. Right. Okay. So yeah, tomorrow, 6 o'clock, and so on and so forth. Okay. Martina Ward, this guy from the opposition, says a maximum of 3,000 people today against Brexit. Okay. All right. Let's have a look. See who this guy is and. What he has to say. Oh, it's Owen Jones. Oh, no, I'm not going to play Owen. Okay, I will. Yeah. Don't censor people. Don't censor, even if he is a moron. Owen Jones. Let's see what he has to say.
Over 15,000 people marched against Tommy Robinson and his fascists. Only 3,000, some are saying only 1,500 marched with Tommy Robinson, that convicted fraudster and thug, and his fascists.
If you were there today, or if you were supporting what was going on today, do you consider yourself to be a fascist? Or do you think that that guy is a propagandist, is a liar? Do you think you're a fascist? If you were supporting what was going on today, i.e. a demonstration in favor of democracy? He carries on.
Total and utter humiliation for Tommy Robinson and his band of fascists. They didn't mobilise barely any people on the streets of this capital, despite all their...
Oh no, it was quiet, wasn't it? We saw that picture. It was quiet, wasn't it? He's used the word fascist 3 times now, by the way.
Sources, all the money being ploughed in from the US and elsewhere. This is a historic day. They came out in tiny, derisory numbers, whilst we, those who oppose the scapegoating of migrants and refugees and Muslims, for all the injustices caused by the people at the top of society in this broken system that has to go, we have outmobilised by a massive, massive margin. A humiliation for Tommy Robinson and a humiliation for fascism, and a victory for those standing against racism and fascism.
Oh, he's broken my software. He's broken my software.
Thank you, Madam Zimmer. Mr. Farage.
Hello. Oh, okay. Let's have a listen to this.
I'm in no doubt that this withdrawal agreement is a good deal. It's a good deal because it involves large transfers of money. It's a good deal because it maintains free movement of people. It's a good deal because it keeps Britain in the customs union and stuck with the EU's rulebook. And crucially, the key point, as Mr. Barnier said this morning, there is the backstop, which means, of course, the United Kingdom can be held effectively as a hostage for many years to come. It's a good deal for the European Union.
That's right.
For the UK, I think it's probably the worst deal in history.
Well said. Right. Okay. Speaking more truthfully than Owen Jones, in my humble opinion, yeah, okay, all right. Ellie Mae Renton, what better reason for all to join UKIP than Brexit? Come on, folks, come and debate this with me. I'm actually going to be getting Daryl Goodliff from Kipper Central on to talk about this a bit this week as well. I'm looking forward to that. To get his take on things, but I know what he's going to say. Really, he's going to come out in support of Gerard Batten. I want to hear people coming out in support of Nigel Farage as well, and other parties. I'll try and get Bill on, for example, from the Libertarian Party, and we'll get hopefully a bit of a rounded debate on this. My concern, a point that I would make, for example, to Caroline Stevens, is that parties such as hers are dividing the Brexit vote, and that this is counterintuitive to regaining our sovereignty and actually is very damaging. That is an argument I would put forward, but I'll be very interested to hear what other people have to say about that as well. Martina Ward is, talking about that Owen Jones clip. Caroline Stevens says, female with a backbone. UKIP supported an incinerator in Stroud to give unborn children no chance. I don't know what you're referring to, Caroline, but again, you're very welcome to come and have a chat. Hold on a sec. Oh, is that Helen? Is that Helen? It's Baxter. That's Baxter's mic. Helen has now turned her headphones off. Oh, she's speaking now. She's trying. She's trying. Helen, I can hear you. Helen. That's Scott, actually. That's her son, I think. Scott? Look, pipe up and interrupt me, and I will. Hey, Helen! Can you hear me? Helen.
I am.
Hey, Helen. How are you?
Very good evening.
I'm surprised that I'm on this end now.
You are live, Helen. You're on the air.
No.
Yes. She's talking to somebody else, isn't she? Helen?
Ollie?
Yes, darling. Can you hear me?
Hang on.
Oh, blimey. She's gone off to make another cup of tea, probably. Right, okay, I'll read a few comments until she gets back. Jane Middleton is the... Yes, Helen. Helen, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, Scott in here. No.
Hey, Helen. Oh, look at that. It's Gary Clark. Helen. He's a nice bloke, is that Gary Clark?
Oh,
Helen.
You was Christopher Michael Baxter.
Yeah, well, he's on here too. He's on here too.
Yeah, he's there with Christopher.
Helen, can you hear me, girl?
Hello, Ollie.
Hello.
I can't hear you, but you might hear me.
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm thick.
No, you're not thick. You're not thick. You're a district nurse. You're wonderful. You're awesome. We need people like you.
Gee whiz, I'll get there, you know. I will get there in the end.
You probably will. Yeah, that's right. Just like my new website will get there in the end. Right. And who knows? Even Brexit. I wonder what will happen first. Whether Helen managed to sort out her telephony or whether we get Brexit. Now that is an interesting question. Okay, all right. Look, Helen, darling. Okay, all right. We'll see. Right, David Wolf. There will be swearing. Lots of laughs. Amanda Thompson. The party needs to be ready. We need cons and Labour gone, and the Lib Dems. UKIP is the only one up for it. Stay Vickers. They was a minute ago. Lots of laughs. David Laddie, they stopped them singing, Ollie. Oh, did they? Who stopped them singing? Who stopped them singing? Oh, look, that's the new cover page for the new site. Anyway, never mind that. Okay, fine. Let's just... Okay, yeah. He's nice at Gary Clark. Right, Bob Stroud. I said the Christmas Carol singers got moved on by the police, but not the Muslims praying. The Christmas Carol singers got moved on by the police in the run-up to Christmas from Speaker's Corner. You've got to be joking. That's incredible. David Wolf, no, just shouting at ignorant Muslims at Speaker's Corners now. Yeah, probably. Helen, darling, you've got your headphones turned off or unplugged. That I can see. See. Yeah, you need to plug in your headphones so that you can hear me as well as me being able to hear you. That is part 2. The first thing you've done right. You've unmuted, which means that I can hear you. Now you need to plug your earphones into your machine so that you can hear me. It's a two-way thing. It's a two-way thing. You see, that's the way communication works, and it's kind of the same with this kind of tech than it is with that. Right. Okay. Yes. Sheldon McGarry is trying to make me swear live on air again. And Bob Stroud says most of UKIP board have gone with Farage. I'm looking forward to finding out more about this because I want to know what the deal is with the NEC UKIP now. Because if I have any concerns about UKIP, it's the NEC because of the way that they have handled themselves since Farage left the leadership. And possibly before, but I don't know. Anyway, David Wolf, Prosper UK. I think is the name of the new party. The new Farage party, Prosper UK. Right. Okay. Sheldon McGarry, are you a stoner? Well, I like to have the occasional spliff. Frankly, seldom. Yes, I do, very much. And also, it helps my rheumatoid arthritis no end, I might add. Jane Middleton, a lot of clothes are now made from bamboo, so why not from hemp? Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. It might be a bit itchy, I suppose, but Chris Rumbold, I use hemp oil, CBD, for pain relief. Exactly. It's very good for, yeah. Amanda Thompson, May's hubby has large shares in growing it. Really? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the problem. She's always stoned. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Anyway, Seldom McGarry, the emperor wears no clothes. Christopher Mitchell, and it's against the Government Cancer Act 1939, as they don't want hemp to be legalized, and hemp can be used to cure cancer. Yes, I think there's a lot of truth in that. Yeah, I think that there is a lot that we do not know, but we do know that there are people who are using CBD, which is basically oil from marijuana, and they reckon that it is curing their cancer, but we don't have any scientific studies on it, or not many, and the media is extremely misleading. But when I go to places like, for example, naturalnews.com, I think is an awesome website, the folks there, they rave about it, and you see all sorts of testimonials, and I can tell you personally that when I get flares, rheumatoid flares, it really does help me. It really does, and I think is less dangerous than many of the anti-inflammatories, because it is an anti-inflammatory. That's what it effectively does anyway. Yeah, all very interesting. Anyway, Sherry Arnott says Farage will never motivate the people. He is just looking to get back as an MEP if we don't leave, which in my opinion means he knows we are not. Seldom McGarry, the shoes, the clothes, the sales, the fucking Alfred the Great was your man. Yeah. Gordon Richards, Spirit in London, waiting for National Express to Chippenham. Great UKIP demo. Good on you, Gordon. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for being there. And I hope you have a safe journey home. Helen Lassie-Smith, I tried Discord again, Ollie. I know, we can hear you. We can hear you in the kitchen, doing the dishes. You got to plug your headphones in. You got to plug your headphones in. I'm going to mute. I'm going to mute you for a minute, but I'll keep an eye.
Yeah, not long.
Until you. Now she's talking to Scott or something, right? Okay, I'm gonna mute her. Bless her. And Jane Middleton, they eat cake while the poor have nothing. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's essentially Macron. What he said, wasn't it? Go and eat cake. You can't make it up. Didn't he see Les Miserables? Yeah, did he not watch that thing? You should have watched that thing. You should have gone and see the show. Anyway, Tony White, isn't it a sad indictment that we know our politicians are operating by deceptions, chicanery, and political shenanigans? It seems that gone are the days when they represented the wishes and the will of the people with integrity and honesty. They have not been held to account for far too long and become lost in the delusion of their own self-importance. They are now just a shameful parody, a pale and flawed caricature, parading themselves as the emperor in his new clothes, but failing to recognize their own nakedness. Objects of ridicule on a world stage littered with similarly deluded puppets. Uck 'em all, I say. Tony Wyatt, thank you very much, sir. Absolutely. And Helen is going to keep trying, she says. Maureen Searle says, brilliant news, Ollie. And David Laddie, yellow vests shouting for Brexit. David Laddie, smack bang wallop. Stay Vickers, know that man is a dickhead. End of. And I think he's referring to Owen Jones. he is the number one snowflake in the United Kingdom, that guy. Aye. Jane Middleton. Owen Jones, the best part of him, ran down his mother's legs. Aye. Amanda Thompson, he's a little SH1T. Stuart Firth, Owen is a hate preacher. Yes, he is. He's a hate preacher. I agree. And yeah. Aye. Amanda Thompson says, looking forward to 6 p.m. tomorrow, Ollie. God bless you, Amanda. Thank you. And thank you for your tip-offs as well today. It was a bit disorganized, but we just about got there. And in 50 minutes, or just under, I'm going to hand over to Axiom Curb. And they will be having a bit of a chat about the day's events as well. And I might join them for a little while at some stage too. PJ and Stav and the guys, God bless them. Predator Jeff and some of the folks. David Wolf, the sheeple will be most willing to vote UKIP. That's what David says. David, I want to have a chat with you, mate. I know you always come up with some great points, and I'd like to debate this with you, sir. Joe blogs, and also I want to know what's going on with Hive Mind. What's going on with your show? So anyway, Yvonne Tierney, sorry, Ollie, that I did not call you, but there was not much to say about today's march, except there should have been thousands more people there. Very disappointed. Now, hold on, Yvonne. Let me show you something. Because I think you're giving yourself a bit of a hard time, girl. Let me show you this wonderful picture. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Oh, how do I do this? There we go. I want to make this as big as possible so you can see it. Look at this. I'll tell you, this is enough to warm the cockles of your heart. Look at this. Look at that. That is absolutely thick with people. It looks like a very busy ant's nest. It looks like a regular beehive there. I think that everybody that turned up today... Oh, hold on. Sorry. I think everybody that turned up today can be pretty proud that they took part and helped to create that kind of an interest. I cannot see any tarmac that people were the tarmac that people were allowed to be on in that vicinity is absolutely chock-a-block. It is full. The Strand here, is that the Strand? I think that's the Strand, isn't it? And coming up through, what's it called? I'm rusty now, I'm in geography. South of Hyde Park here. That road there, clearly people weren't allowed to be on that bit of road. That you can see the cars there. But everywhere that people are allowed to be is absolutely chock-a-block, including a large chunk of Hyde Park with an overspill. You can see where the coaches have come in there, and that's the Hilton just there. The Dorchester is just off shot, I suppose, and it is just heaving. It's heaving. That compared to the 23rd is far more impressive in terms of numbers. The 23rd of June, so-called Independence Day. 2 years after Brexit event. This is far more impressive, it seems to me, in terms of numbers than was the case then. And so I don't care what Owen Jones says. I don't care what the BBC, the Graniad, the Not So Independent, the Sexpress. I don't care what any of them say. There's the picture. And probably somebody photoshopped it. No, I don't know. The pictures I saw from various vantage points, we took on a load of streams today. They all looked very busy. People on that stage, they were looking way back and complimenting on the depth of the crowd. where they were speaking. I think it was a respectable turnout today, and I for one am very grateful. And that's awesome. That's awesome. And bearing in mind that probably the vast majority of people still are of the mind, why should they even have to bother attending? Because they did march to the polling booth. And what more should you have to do, really, than that? They did that already. And, of course, a lot of folks couldn't make it for whatever reason, including me. There's old Gary again, waxing lyrical, bless him. And, and just fantastic, I think, was the turnout today. I can tell you also that on social media, watching, for example, Unity, watching Rutley, a few people watching my show, but not many, frankly. But watching the various shows across the board, there were thousands. There were thousands of people just watching online. And so I think that it was pretty impressive, all in all. I think it was, I think that, we put up a pretty good show. And at the end of the day, we've already made our point at the ballot. And a lot of people wouldn't be there now because they feel that they've already done that and they're not aware, really. People are still rather comatose, no? People are still rather comatose about what all this means. A lot of people are confused still. Some people actually think that what Theresa May is delivering is Brexit. That is what the BBC is telling them. It is not. It's a veto for a foreign competitor to decide our future. It beggars belief that any prime minister of any nation would give that away to a foreign power. It's disgusting. It's intolerable. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't understand that. And so we've just got to keep sharing. You've just got to keep sharing. Shows like this, whatever, anybody talking about this stuff. Keep talking. Keep sharing from your timelines. We just got to keep doing it. We haven't got any choice. Is there anything else we can really do yet at this stage without having some nasty scenes? We, at the moment, have just got to do what, well, we've got to do the best we can. Keep buggering on, and the rest, I believe, will follow suit. I think the gravity will take its toll. And you know what? Actually, even if Brexit doesn't happen, and God knows they are doing everything they can to thwart democracy, but even if it doesn't happen, we still got to keep going, because they're doing it in France, they're doing it in Germany, in Austria, in Italy, all over Europe. They're doing it. We just got to keep going, and the momentum will look after the rest. Even if there isn't Brexit, the EU will fail. I genuinely believe that. I absolutely believe it. And quite frankly, I've thought since the beginning of this show that Brexit will not be the reason that we end up leaving the EU. The reason we will end up leaving the EU is because the EU will implode. But we have to keep this momentum going, because it's that kind of passion that we have and that other people have in other nation states that will make that come to pass. So, hey, faith, people. Right. Yvonne Tierney still on the train, going home, so cannot put the volume on. We'll have to watch this later, says Yvonne Tierney. Kerry Swan, have I missed much? I was on Aaron's feed. Yes, you have. Theresa May quit half an hour ago, Kerry. I'll tell you. She quit. It was a big flurry of stuff. We covered it all and it's all gone. Now we got Boris. No, not quite. Right. Simon Dawson, Gary will show the way for you, Ollie. I got a lot of respect for the guy, I have to tell you. Nigel Brown. Ollie got naked, Kerry. Yeah, well, that was the other thing. I did a quick mini. Karen Potts just shows how much freedom we have lost. Jane Middleton, Speaker's Corner belongs to the foot soldiers now. As I understand it, Jane, it belongs to the foot soldiers of Islam now. I kind of think we need to reclaim it for the British, I have to say, personally. And anybody that wants to be a part of the British culture. Stay Vickers, so funny. James White, mass majority with Batten and Tommy. They have my vote and just joined. John Middleton, you can't get a UK license to grow. Look up hemp. You can't get a UK license to grow. To grow hemp. Stay Vickers, I think a lot of people don't know which way to vote other than Labour or Conservative. That's right. There are too many other parties, just a thought. Yes, yeah. I mean, this debate that I want to have about this splitting the vote, because I do think that proportional representation is the way forward, or at least I think it's considerably better than the parliamentary democracy that we have at the moment. I think it's the way to go. But we cannot aspire towards having more representative MPs and, for example, smaller parties to have the acknowledgement that they deserve, or potentially that they deserve, until we clear this swamp, or at least begin to properly. And the way to do that, it seems to me, is to have a DUP type influence there in a coalition, i.e. UKIP, to be able to turn the tide from what we have now into something which is more representative. And when we're at that stage, this is a pragmatic approach, yeah? When we're at that stage, then we are opening up the opportunity for other parties and hopefully independents, irrespective of parties. Because I got to tell you, I think party politics is poison. And I don't care really what the party is. Having just joined UKIP, I would still say that. I think party politics is poison. But on the other hand, we have to use the system in order that we can then improve upon it down the road. And but Lib Lab Con, we know, revolves around the third syllable there, yeah? But that if we can bring more people, more representation into Parliament with a party such as UKIP, at that stage then we would be better placed to bring in more parties as well, as opposed to dividing the vote at this stage. That seems to me that's the case, but I'd be very interested to hear what other people have to say on that. John Middleton, you can't get a UK license ground. Right. I have a joint to slow down my drinking. Lots of laughs, says Stay Vickers. Helen Lasky-Smith, Theresa May's husband, does do cannabis, and she made it legal about 2 weeks ago. Also, he has businesses abroad and in London. I think has she made medicinal cannabis legal? Is that the deal there? And he does do cannabis, does he? Well, yeah. Oh, so he's a happy fascist. Parky Bashir says that photo is not from today. Oh, yeah. So sorry, I'm spreading fake news here. I'm spreading fake news apparently. I apologize for that. That photo's not from today. When's it from? When's it from, Parky? So tell me, what do you think the turnout was then today? What do you guys think the turnout was from today then? Stuart Firth, Jeremy Corbyn is ready to take over as Prime Minister of a minority government on Wednesday morning if MPs reject Theresa May's Brexit deal. Labour has told Sky News. But don't worry, Stuart, because they ain't got a leg to stand on. Such are fixed terms as put in place by that Conservative Lib Dem coalition, the last government. So it's that's not going to transpire unless the Tories buckle and say, yeah, no, we'll have a general election. But I think that it is pretty unlikely that's going to be the case. I would have thought. Surely we're going to see a leadership election. I would have thought. But I would have thought more so that Theresa May will just hang on by hook or by crook as long as she can to delay things, to try. I don't know. I'm getting very confused myself. But I don't think that Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour, or rather the Labour Party, and particularly the Blairites, the people that do want EU governance, I don't think that they are going to be in power quite yet, personally. But that's just my thought. Kerry J. Swan, is this going out on YouTube too? No, it isn't. It's only going out on Facebook today because I was... because. But normally it does go out on YouTube too, and it will be going out on Vim TV as well. Vim TV is another one. Yeah, anyway, right. Joe Blogs, Snowpiercer. Karen Potts, yes, that photo is from today. The sun was out today in London. Okay, so maybe I'm not spreading fake news. Yvonne Tierney, Stuart Firth, I can't bear the thought of him becoming Prime Minister. Referring to Corbyn, I guess. Please, God, help us. I have to say, I mean, I despise his mathematics, but I think he's a much better specimen than the Prime Minister that we've got. It certainly in terms of Brexit. But the problem is the rest of his party, who are more malfeasant than this cabinet, in my opinion. I mean, the Blairites are the scum of the earth. The scum of the earth. And that is Hilary Benn. That is Keir Starmer. And they're the ones that will be running this country if we're not careful. Kerry J. Swan says he's a little twat. And I won't say the rest, what she says. Yeah. How do you know that? Paul Brown, you think you have a hard. I'm over here in Ireland with Trump to my right, Brexit to my left, and I'm stuck in the middle with the EU. Now that sounds like a song. Yeah, anyway. Yes, Paul. Oh, God bless you in Ireland. And we need Erexit. That sounds like an erection. But we do. Yes, we do. And why shouldn't we have some kind of a British Isles trade system which benefits both your country and our country, and not plutocracy, globalist fascists that don't even live in either of our two countries. Helen Lassie-Smith, the people were in different areas and joined up. It was packed and everyone was well behaved. And she sends her love as always. Joe Blogs, was that a comment or a question? Asking Parky Bashir something. And okay, all right, he's got a link as Parky. Let's have a look at this. Simon Lord, he's naughty. Right. Let's have a look. See what, okay. So okay, all right. So is that the same picture? That's not the same picture. Oh, it could be. No, it's not. It's not the same picture. Whether or not it's the same day, I don't know. But it is not the same picture. I can tell you that, because there's a section there of road that was free of people in that other picture. Okay, I can show you. I can show you the difference. Oh, hold on a sec. You can't see that. There you go. Right. Okay. This one here. This is This is from the Losers March, isn't it? The Losers March, where organisers say more than 600,000 people. They don't do that about our march today, do they? They don't say organisers say. In fact, the Guardian just ignored it and said that the counter demo was... Anyway, right. So this is the picture that I was referring to. And you can see that the road... Maybe it was a different stage of the day. Maybe it was a different stage of the day. But anyway, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at that. That's the holding page for the new site. Yeah. It's all under wraps at the moment. Right. Helen Lasky Smith. People were in different areas and joined up. It was packed and everyone was well behaved. Maggie Isabel Murray shared. Owen Jones says the Antifa outnumbered. Ha ha ha. Really. Joe Blogs, good to have a lot of streams and a lot of people working towards the same goal because it's harder to silence collective than individuality. Yes. Yes, Joe. James Isaac, does Owen Jones really think people are going to vote for his lies? I'm afraid he does. And I'm very sorry to say that people will. I mean, anybody that's visited the heart of British politics anytime recently, I don't think there's any hope for that lot. I tell you, it's ironic, isn't it? Because we're actually fighting for their future. And if we stopped, their future would be absolutely dire. And they are so pig ignorant. They just refuse to see the reality of what the EU is. Oh, I love the fact that guy's never been elected by the public. I love the fact that it's technocratic and that MEPs are told what to vote on. They are mad. John Middleton. Babylon. Confusion of language. EU as prefix. Well, Margaret Painter, she was signing PESCO and Marrakesh Treaty. Yeah, that's the next thing, isn't it? That's the next thing. Marrakesh. I guess we'll be doing a show on that pretty damn soon too. Aaron Bacon. Hey, Aaron. Let's have a look and see what link he is giving us. And I'll have a quick look. Pull that up. Oh, hold on. What's this? Timeline. The real break. Oh, okay, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Always puts in some good tips. And here we go. So let's see if I can show you all of this so that you can see what it is that Aaron wants to inform us about sensibly. Oh, just enlarge that. Oh, blimey. No. Do it. Oh, wrong one. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Right, so let's have a look and see who these characters are that are going to be doing the Channel 4 Brexit debate, because the BBC and ITV, neither of them have been able to put anything together with these two. Well, I mean, one's a complete remoron, the Prime Minister, and the other one is kind of like semi, the Labour bloke. As if we even need a debate. I thought we had the campaign. But anyway, the real Brexit debate, according to Channel 4, Simple Politics, and they are simple. They have got James Cleverly from Conservatives, who is backing the government's Brexit deal, and there ain't nothing clever about that, mate. We got Caroline Lucas from the Greens, who wants a people's vote or to remain. Guess what? Larry Gardner, blimey, from Labour, defending Labour's position on Brexit. They don't have a position on Brexit. And Jacob Rees-Mogg, the voice of reason, from the Conservatives, wants a hard Brexit, according to Channel 4. It's called Brexit! Opposes the deal. Jacob Rees-Mogg. So there we go. There's the lineup for the real Brexit debate on Channel 4 at 7 p.m. When is that? What date is that? Aaron, let me know. When is that? But I think that's in the next few days, isn't it? And that's James Cleverly, Caroline Lucas, Barry Gardner, and Jacob Rees-Mogg, who will have them all for breakfast. So that actually is quite good. But of course, you know, again, democracy is getting 25% of the airtime. You see what they're doing here? Channel 4. Do we still fund them? We still give them money? Public service? Like mini BBC thing? Aye. Kevin England over on Aaron Bacon's timeline says he can't stand Barry Gardner. He's got such a lady voice. I think he's a lady boy, actually. I don't know. I think he identifies as... I don't know. He's a bit weird anyway, listening to him. Right, okay, fine. So that's that. Now, yes, okay. Aaron has now very kindly adding some info here. It's tonight! It's tonight. It's in 20 minutes' time. It's in 20 minutes' time. Oh, that's not going to go down well with Axiom Curb. They've got their show on at the same time. I have to say, I'm going to have to watch this debate just for the comedy value. I might record it, and I don't know. Anyway. Oh, blimey. Axiom Curb, you guys should have it on live and comment on it as it's going on, and basically put them right, because they will be lying and lying and lying and lying, and the only one that will speak any sense with 25% of the airtime, despite the Democratic vote, will be Rees-Mogg. And it will be interesting to see if he has any truck whatsoever for a second referendum, but I certainly hope not. Simon Dawson, license is in the description of deception, to lose your bonds of your property. Margaret Painter, common law, run by the people, sworn in on oath. John Middleton, all about rescue food, Brexit and dirt. And Kerry J. Swan is laughing at my pronunciation of Simon Lord's moniker, Parky Bashir. Simon Dawson, 10 though, easy. I don't know what that's referring to, Si. Vicky Scallo is saying 30,000, presumably her take on today's attendance. And Paki Bashir is saying, I have put the link up, Ollie, to the video feed. Oh, blimey. Which one? Which feed? Which feed, mate? Yeah. And, right. Kerry J. Swan says, Blair, the next EU president. Blimey. John Middleton, Encyclopedia, they're old Roman. You know, folks, come on. Give us a bit of a rounded comment that, you know, makes sense when I read it out as well. Yeah. Kenneth Noel Gabriel Curran. May can't retire to spend more time with her family. What excuse will she give? Yeah, because she hasn't got any, has she? What excuse will she give when given a reet thumping on 11th of December? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the excuse that she'll give, and they already are giving it. Oh, it's Brexit. Oh, it's not normal. It's not. She needs another chance. That is what they'll say. That's what they're already saying. It's not normal politics. She lost. The government was called out by Parliament the other day for what? Contempt. Contempt! As if Parliament isn't being utterly contemptuous towards the British people. I mean, you can't... It is panto season. She should have had to resign immediately that happened. And that Attorney General bloke. She should have had to leave thereof with an immediate leadership campaign. This government has failed Parliament, according to Parliament, and yet it still stands? It's absolutely incredible. They are making it up as they go along. It's a bit like religion. They make it up as they go along. Joe Blogs, Snowpiercer, feeding the back of the train, the poor class, with ground insects, and the front of the train, the elite, with lobster on a perpetual motion train circling the planet in an ice age when everything else is dead. Lisa Fudge says, we have a Labour government in Wales and they are nothing but thieves and liars. David Wolfe, a diarrhea-covered slug is a better specimen than the current PM. Yeah, and I tell you what, the one person in number 10 who should be running the country and who could have done a remotely decent job is Larry the Cat! Anyway, yes. And Joe Blog says, some people are saying the yellow vest is a psyop designed to bring the chaos to which order comes in the form of NWO, New World Order. You decide, but you have to admit the collective high visibility vest idea was a clever one. Yeah, it was. It was. It was. Liz Cowdrey Garedugki, Liz, I'm sorry. They had a free coaches. The Ramonas did. Yeah, paid for by Soros. I'll bet. The celebs all paid for them on the Losers' March, didn't they? All these rich bastards paid for that. Who paid for ours today? It was the regular folks. It is also stacked. Kenneth Noel Gabriel Curran says British politics hasn't got a heart, as is. That's right. There's no empathy. Psychos. That's the problem with psychos. We need to have a debate about psychos in power. Big problem. No debate. John Middleton, licensed to grow cannabis. Hemp, if misted before. And I'll have a look at that. I'll have a quick look at that. Stay Vickers, smog hands down. Yeah, probably will win tonight. So that's tonight. That's in 17 minutes time. Let the propaganda begin. Kerry J. Swan, go on, Ollie Pop. Have a good old rant. As if I would. Joe Bloggs. So Lucas, Caroline Lucas, supports the Soros movement. Yup. Is that because the Green Party has received considerable funding from the EU? Ha ha! Yeah. I don't know the truth of that, but it would not surprise me at all. John Middleton, the real Brexit debate. It says no, exist, no, exit, no, barter. Stay Vickers, no, it's not Brexit. It's called independence. Yes, it is. Yes, you're right. And it's called leave. That's right. Yeah. Aaron Bacon is tonight. Yeah. Joe Blog, Gardner supports, Barry Gardner, ladyboy bloke, supports Labour's position on Brexit. What exactly is Labour's position on Brexit? They have still not made that clear to anyone, even themselves, yeah? Aye, David Wolfe, chuffing hate, cultural Marxism. Channel 4, yeah, that's right. Cultural Marxism is absolutely what it is. What is, Aaron? Yeah, Kerry, okay, this is the debate. This is the debate on Channel 4 with, look, this lot. Yeah, look at these lovely people. Oh, God, I can't put them up again. Anyway, there's a Channel 4 debate about Brexit tonight and then all a bunch of tossers. Right, apart from maybe Rees-Mogg. Yeah. We'll be having his bacon, egg and chips. JRM, says Maggie Isabel Murray, tonight. Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope he fries them for breakfast. Kenneth Noel Gabriel Curran, real Brexit, surreal, unreal, and wondering, pondering. Else head up, else proverbial. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Let me just pull up Discord because it seems to have disappeared. And if anybody is around on there and they want to say anything, then I want to give them the opportunity. So And hey, we have got Baxter here still. Are you still there, Baxter, or have you? I don't know. Are you cooking your bacon and eggs, mate? He missed the coach this morning. That bloke. He missed the coach. Anyway, there you go. Yes, Helen points out. Yeah, it's on Channel 4 tonight at 7 o'clock. Stuart Firth, the 2008 French law required all French motorists to buy yellow jackets to wear in times of distress. That's right. A classic case of unintended consequences. Yeah, that's right. It's legal. It's law over most of the continent for people to wear high-vis whatnots, or to have them in the car even. If you don't have them in the car, you can have your car towed. On the continent, apparently Stay Vickers says a big thank you, Ollie. Great show. Hope some of the links helped you out. See you soon. Night all friends, dragons. Peace to all. Need some to eat before I pass out. Lots of laughs. Stay. Thank you, and thank you for your links today, man. God bless you. And excellent. Okay, right. Yeah. Stuart Firth, police trying to arrest lawyers inside the Palais de Justice in Rouen. Trying to arrest lawyers inside the Palais de Justice in Rouen. Well, yeah, good. They were trying to storm the EU Parliament. If anybody's got a link of them trying to storm the EU Parliament yesterday in Brussels, I would love to see that and to show it, because I haven't seen it yet. I haven't had time to look it up or anything. But I would, if that's correct, and I've heard it from a couple of different sources, I understand it is correct. I would like very, very much to see that video and to bring it to you guys to show you. Stuart Firth, says trying to arrest lawyers. Well, interesting. Kenneth Noel Gabriel Curran may be the first minister to be sectioned under the Mental Health Act. Well, she's a psycho. I mean, define mental illness. Yeah. Now hold on. Aaron, bless him, Aaron Bacon. He's got another link for us. He's got another link, and I bet it's good. Let's have a look and see what he's giving us now. So this is from yesterday. And guess what? Amber Bloody Rudd, another Bilderberger. She was at Bilderberg this year, yeah, along with Mark Carney, along with George Osborne. He's got his own personal political pulpit now, hasn't he, with the Evening Standard, preaching to the converted in London, but nonetheless. Amber Rudd floats now. Now this has all gone skew whiff again, hasn't it? Let me just quickly mess around with this so that you can see what I can see, which I'm sure you'll be so grateful for, seeing it's a story about Amber Rudd. I mean, hey, how you've never had it so good. Right. Okay. So, oh no, hold on. And that. Oh no, not that. Oh, blimey, that made me feel sick. Right. Hold on. I need a pee now as well. It's getting towards the end of the show when I can take a pee, which is always good. And I will definitely need one before Barry Gardiner comes on. Otherwise, I might just pee all over the TV. Right. Okay. So if I just do that, you can see the top. There you go. All right. Okay. That'll do. Blimey, for crying out loud. Amber Rudd. This is Reuters. Yeah. Floats Plan B. Is it C, D, E, F? Before key vote on May's Brexit deal, which isn't a deal because it ain't been dealt. A close ally of Prime Minister Theresa May on Saturday became the first cabinet minister to float a possible Plan B if, as expected, Parliament next week rejects her proposal to leave the EU. I can't stand this woman, Minnie May Rudd, but unfortunately, she is a contender to be the next leader of treason So we'll find out what she has to say. With her own future in the balance, May insists her deal, laboriously negotiated with the EU over many months, is the only one on the table, and that the alternatives are a painful no act. Yeah, we know this. However, MPs, including from May's own Conservative Party, yes, we know this. Amber Rudd, right. It takes them the third sentence before they get to the story. While agreeing with May that her deal provides the best option for exiting the EU, Amber Rudd, the Work and Pensions Minister, said a Norway-style relationship with the bloc might also offer a way out of the current deadlock, or another cack-handed way to stay in round the back door, more like it, I'd have thought. If this is Rudd speaking, May's plan doesn't get through, anything could happen, including me being hung. But People's Vote, Norway Plus, any of these options could come forward, she told BBC Radio on Saturday. Rudd told the Times newspaper in an interview her own preferred option, if May's deal failed, was the Norway Plus model, adding it seems plausible, not just in terms of the country, but in terms of where the MPs are. Norway is not an EU member, but is in the bloc's single market, which allows for free movement of goods, capital, services and people. Norway Plus envisages Britain also staying in the EU's customs union, which Norway is not in. Senior officials on both sides of the EU-UK negotiations on May's deal have voiced scepticism to Reuters about the Norway pivot idea, saying it seems far removed from British demands for more control, more total over rules, and could need lengthy new talks. Some pro-EU MPs have also expressed support for a second referendum on EU membership or a people's vote. And so they go on basically saying everything that they've said for the last 6 months again. It's funny, isn't it? Daily Brexit was off for 4 months and nothing happened. Nothing happened. Incredible. Maggie Isabel Murray. They're all linked with 788 to 780 Finchley Road. All corrupt. Lisa Fudgy Fudge. Hey, Lisa. They protested in Netherlands, Sweden, and Canada in yellow vests. Yellow vests in Canada too, huh? Wow. I'm going to give that a little heart. Give that a heart. Oh, give that a heart. Yep. Lisa Fudgy Fuge also says, I have said all along, Theresa May has had some kind of lobotomy. Yeah. I'll tell you what, that is as good, that makes as much sense as anything, actually. She's probably had a tracheotomy or something going on. Oh, excuse me, got a bit of a pain in my... Right. Helen Lackey-Smith, thank you for today. Ollie, you've been there so long. You're a diamond. God bless you, Helen. We've all been there. We've all been doing it. Joe Blogs, if it's true, then they are finally going after the source rather than destroying the infrastructure they built. And a lot of folks are driving up the M6 now, which is a lot worse than having to sit here. June Newland, that woman, and her cronies need sectioned. Yep, they do. And David Wolf, haha, did you see May flapping about on TV when asked about Plan B? Lots of laughs. Now Rudd, the scumbag, comes out with this BS. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Vicky Scallo, check the Facebook page of Guy Launay. He has some really good material there, including footage from Belgium. Great stuff. Wow. Vicky, please give me a list. Give me a link. But thank you. Thank you very much indeed. And friend me, please, and send me something on Messenger. Because I don't know this chap Guy. I try to be better with Messenger, yeah. I know I've been very crap getting back to people. Helen Lasky-Smith. That's true, Ollie, about Finchley Road. I heard the video, and Amber Rudd is with that too. Yeah, her brother. No, is it not the reason that Amber Rudd resigned? Is that not the true reason why she had to quit? Something to do with her brother and Finchley Road and Panama Papers, and all very curious. All very curious indeed. May is probably under MK Ultra, says Joe Blogs. Why she was so stiff dancing and looked like a robot. Yeah. So did we end up getting back to back? No, I don't think we did. I don't think we did. You know what? I think that it is that time of day. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? What happened there? Have another go. Oh, yeah. This has been Daily Brexit today. Yeah. I'm stopping just a couple of minutes early because there's a bit of a latency thing, and I'm not quite sure what the latency is, but I think it's at least a minute between me saying something and you seeing it. And this Channel 4 thing, some people will want to be watching, and so now's your chance to make a quick cup of tea. In my case, to grab a nice pint of old speckled hen and to take a pee. I normally wake up and it's another bad hair day. Today, I've got my mic, my headphones are like, have created a new hairstyle. Ooh. Every day's a bad hair day. And Axiom Curb will be on in just a few minutes as well. And I hope that PJ is around and about, or Stav, or one of the guys. Joe Blogs. Please, link us so that folks know where to go for Axiom Curb for your show about to start. Analysing events today. This has been rolling coverage of the London demo. Thank you to everybody that went. Thank you. Apart from Owen Jones, you can bugger off. Yeah, back tomorrow, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. Daily Brexit's back, Monday to Friday, except this coming Friday. But yeah, Monday to Friday. Until the 29th of March, which is Brexit Day. And then the show will be redundant. I pray that's the case. I pray that that is the case. See you tomorrow, folks. God bless you. Here's to us and bugger plutocracy. And Owen Jones, you can bugger off.